Welcome back to Enter the Supply Chain World. I am Vikas Kumar and this is episode 5. Let's start this time with a question. A cocoa farmer sells a kg of cocoa beans for roughly a dollar or two. A finished chocolate bar made from those same beans sits on a shop shelf for several times that price. The beans are the same, the cocoa is the same. So, what exactly happened between the farm and the shelf that made it worth so much more? The answer is one of the most important ideas in all of supply chain. It is called value. And today we are going to understand what value is, how it gets added at every single step of supply chain. Let's start by understanding what value is. In simple terms, value is what something is worth to the person who wants it, not just the cost of making it, not just the price on the label, but what it is genuinely worth to the person holding it in their hands. Let us think about water. A glass of water at home costs almost nothing, but the same glass of water offered to someone who has been walking for hours in the heat is worth everything to them in that moment. The water did not change here. What changed was the situation of the person who needed it. This is the heart of value. It is not fixed. It depends on what someone needs, when they need it, and how available it is. In a supply chain, value works slightly differently. Here, value is created step by step as a product moves from raw material to finished good. And every step that genuinely improves the product, makes it more useful, or brings it closer to the person who needs it. This is what we call value addition. Let us trace value addition through a supply chain by extending our previous reusable steel water bottle example. The first step is raw material stage. Iron ore is dug from the ground. In this form, it is heavy, dirty, and completely unusable for most purposes. Its value is low, but it is the foundation of everything. Second step is steel production. The iron ore is processed into clean, strong steel sheets. Suddenly, this material can be used to build various things. Value has been added through energy, skill, and technology, and the price of that material reflects it. The third step is manufacturing the bottle. The steel sheets are cut, shaped, welded, and polished into a bottle. What was flat sheet of metal is now a functional, usable product. Enormous value has been added here. Design, precision, labor, and craftsmanship all played a part. Then, next step is quality check. Every bottle is inspected and certified. The customer now has the assurance that what they are buying meets a standard. That assurance, that peace of mind, is itself a form of value. Fifth step is packaging. The bottle is packed attractively, clearly labeled, and protected for transport. Presentation and protection are value too. A well packaged product communicates care, and customers feel it. Sixth step is transportation and availability. The bottle travels from a factory to a shop near us. The value of convenience is added here. A product we cannot access has no practical value to us, no matter how good it is. Moving it close to us is one of the most powerful forms of value addition in the entire chain. As we have seen in each of these six steps, value is added at every step and the price we would pay for that product increases because someone invested time, skill, energy, or resources to make it better or more accessible. Let's think about it. Think of any product we bought recently. Can we trace the steps where value was added before it reached us? Which step do we think added the most value? Now that we understand about value, let's understand two more related terms, cost and price. Each of them mean completely different thing. Let's separate them clearly. Cost is what it takes to make or deliver something. The money spent on raw materials, energy, labor, and transportation. Price is what the seller charges the customer, which includes the cost plus a margin for profit. Value is what the customer believes the product is worth, which may be higher or lower than the price. Here is the interesting part. If a customer believes the value of something is higher than its price, they feel like they got a good deal. They will buy it happily. On the other hand, if a customer believes the value is lower than the price, they feel it is too expensive. They walk away. The entire job of a supply chain, from the first supplier to the last retailer, is to add as much genuine value as possible while keeping cost low enough that the price remains attractive. That balance between value and cost is what makes supply chain either successful or struggling. Let's think about it. Pick something we bought recently and felt great about, and something we bought and felt was overpriced. What was different about the value we received in each case? Let's understand about the value chain. In the 1980s, a professor named Michael Porter introduced a concept called the value chain. It became one of the most important ideas in business and supply chains. Professor Porter said that every company performs a series of activities, and each activity either adds value to the final product or it does not. The goal of any business is to understand which activities add real value, perform those better than anyone else, and eliminate activities that add cost without adding value. Think of it like packing for a trip. Every item we pack should serve a purpose. If something takes up space and adds weight, but we never use it, it has no value. The smart traveler removes it. The same logic applies to supply chain. Every step, every process, every activity must earn its place by genuinely adding value. If it does not, it adds cost, slows things down, and makes the chain less competitive. This idea, stripping out everything that does not add value, is at the heart of some of the most efficient supply chains in the world today. Now, here is where it gets really interesting and very relevant to 2026. For a long time, value in supply chain was measured almost entirely in financial terms. How much does it cost? What price we can charge? How much profit do we make? But that definition of value is being challenged and changed right now. After the COP30 climate summit held in November 2025 in Brazil, the global conversation around clean energy and sustainable supply chain intensified significantly. Governments, businesses, and consumers are increasingly asking a question that was rarely asked before. What is the environmental cost of creating this value? If a factory adds value by turning raw materials into a finished product, but in doing so, it pollutes a river or releases large amount of carbon into air, has it really created value? Or has it shifted the cost onto the planet and onto the communities who had no say in the matter? This is what thinkers and businesses today call sustainable value. Creating value in a way that does not destroy the environment or harm communities in the process. A survey of nearly 500 global executives across 10 manufacturing centric industries found that 95% said circularity will be important to their organizations within 3 years. Circularity here means designing supply chains where materials are reused, recycled, and kept in circulation rather than extracted, used once, and thrown away. It is a supply chain that adds value without adding waste. The steel water bottle example that we followed through is itself a small symbol of the shift. Every time we refill it instead of buying a single use plastic bottle, we are participating in a supply chain that was designed to create value without destroying it elsewhere. Let's think about it. When we buy something, do we ever think about what it cost the planet to make? And would knowing that change the way we are willing to pay for it? Let us bring it all together. Value is what something is worth to the person who wants it, shaped by need, availability, and quality. Value addition happens at every step of the supply chain, turning raw materials into something more useful, more accessible, and more desirable. Cost, price, and value are three different things, and understanding the difference is fundamental to understanding supply chains. The value chain concept, introduced by Professor Michael Porter, tells us that every activity in a supply chain must earn its place by genuinely adding value. Currently, value is being redefined to include sustainable value, creating value without harming the environment or communities along the way. Before we wrap up, here is a trivia. Over 250 years ago, economist Adam Smith noticed something strange. Water is necessary for life but costs almost nothing, while useless diamonds cost a fortune. This became known as the diamond water paradox. The real explanation comes down to usefulness versus supply. Since water is everywhere, one extra glass is worth very little to us. But because diamonds are rare, getting just one more is highly valuable. Today, this concept explains why prices depend on how much people want the next available item, not just how important the item is for survival.